all of their traditional wrappings to be buried in the tomb. And they leave him, right? He's in the grave. So when they come and see Jesus' garments in the tomb, it says one of the disciples gets to the opening and he is shocked and he stops. He can't even go in. And the next one just runs in right after him. And so it talks about how important whatever it was that disciple saw in there that was so shocking that would cause him to stop. And it was the manner that he saw the garments. That they were in two separate places because there was one for the face and there was one for the body. So just think about it for a second. If you sat up from your resting position and you had a cloth over your face, it's going to probably be placed someplace else, right? You sit up. But the way this was basically as Jesus was laid in the tomb, he just came up through his garments. So they were laid in a way that were not disturbed. They were folded in the same way that he was buried. And when Lazarus was risen after 3 days, remember that? The scripture talks so much about the unwrapping. They had to start unwrapping him. It was a big ordeal to take these garments off of him. And the stench that came with being dead for 3 days. So when we come into this tomb where Jesus was risen, nobody's touched him. He's just come through it. And so why that's important is the theory and the cornerstone of our Christian faith is this resurrection. It all hinges on the fact that Jesus Christ raised himself from the dead. And it says that there were 500 counts of Jesus showing up to people after he passed. It says that he encouraged them and asked them to touch his wounds. So they physically touched Jesus, which discredits any theory of people trying to say that Jesus didn't actually raise himself from the dead. There's the theory that the Romans stole him. Well, if the Romans stole him, then what was the point in all that they did? They're basically saying, yeah, in 3 days he rose. So that makes no sense. For the disciples to come and steal him from the grave makes no sense because these guys were weak. And after his resurrection, they were like a lion. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. After spending all that time with him. And all of a sudden, his ministry is activated. And these disciples go on and they sacrifice their lives to spread the gospel because they believed. See, there was a shift in the disciples once Jesus really was resurrected from the grave. Because they knew that they knew that they knew that he could defeat death in the grave. Well, this is in the bag. We got this. Right? Their faith just, it rose with Jesus. Right?
Yes.
So there's this, my favorite is the swoon theory. You ever heard of the swoon theory? Yeah. They said that Jesus just passed out. And then later he, just woke up in the grave. I was hoping I could find the, here we go. Here's, if this is true, here's what Jesus would have to have endured. Okay, 6 trials, a crown of thorns, a Roman scourge, a crucifixion, a spear thrust to his side, the loss of a great deal of blood, going 3 days without medical attention or food, pushing a 2-ton stone away from the tomb's entrance, and then once he got outside of it, then he's going to have to overcome an armed Roman guard while walking on pierced feet. That sounds highly logical, right? So it's just comical, the theories that people try to disprove the resurrection. But there's been a lot of very well-renowned scientists that have said, we can't disprove it. There's too many witnesses. There's too many things that took place. And one of my favorite things is there's so many times of angels that assisted Jesus. At his birth, the angels assisted him. On the temptation, and when he was in agony on the cross, no angel attended him. It said heaven turned their face away. He was on his own. So the first time that an angel can come back and assist Jesus is the day that he rose from the grave. It meant if an angel came, which rolled that stone away, came back to assist Jesus so that not so Jesus could get out, but so everybody else could look in and see the way the garments were placed, to see that he wasn't there, and to see that the Roman soldiers were scared away, and an angel of God is sitting on top of the stone, which to me is him saying, we're back. I'm up here, and we got authority, we got this. Like they were just waiting, chomping at the bit to please let us assist Jesus again. And so as the ladies came and the disciples came, the angel is there to instruct them, to say, and here's the thing that I love, it says that an officer was sent on purpose, the officer meaning the angel, to roll away the stone and open the prison door, which would never have been if he had not made full satisfaction. Meaning heaven turned his face away so that while Jesus was on the cross, he was on his own. It was him saying, yes, Father, I'll do it. I'm here to take all the sins of your people so that they can be free. And the only way heaven could send angels to come and assist him again only was if heaven was satisfied with what had happened.
Yes.
Amen. Everybody say satisfied.
Satisfied.
Would you like for heaven to be satisfied over whatever it is in your life, right?
Yes.
That the angels can come and assist you. All right, so in conclusion, back to the Talit. It says that to speak to the people of Israel and instruct them to make this Talit. People didn't necessarily mean just men. When we say mankind or man, that's generally a multi-gender term. Another time when it talks about the sons of Egypt that were freed, it wasn't just men that were freed, right? Women, men, children. It's speaking to all of them. And somewhere along the way, somebody, maybe in the too long tassels, made the decision that this was a garment just for men. But they actually came to the conclusion that they're not so clear that this was really just intended for men. So that a woman has a choice whether or not to wear the talit. But see, now it's the prayer shawl. And so what does that say to us? What it says is, we still serve and always have served a God who is all-inclusive. Amen. There's not anybody, any gender, any race that isn't included in the grace message that he gives us. There was a teaching about how the cloth was folded in the tomb, and it was meant that used to a master who had a servant, if he was finished with his food, he would throw the towel on the table. It just meant he was done, so the servant could know to clear it away. If it was folded in a certain manner, it meant, I'll be back, I'm coming back, leave it where it is. And so that was a lot of times taught that maybe that's what it meant when the garments were folded in the tomb. But it really just means that it was folded in the way that it was when he was buried, so that he just left it. But see, here's what I love about that teaching being tied to the garments in the tomb. It's because to have a master and a servant that you're only talking through a towel being folded or not folded is not what God wanted with us and his people anymore, or with him and his people anymore. He wanted relationship. He wanted to tell you himself, this is what I think. This is what I think you should do. You understand what I'm saying? The master and the servant back in the day, the master didn't talk to the servant. right? It was just a folded cloth. But Jesus wants relationship. He wants to talk to you personally, not by how some rag is folded or unfolded, or he just wants you to say, hey, I got this going on and I need you. And he's right there to tell you whatever instruction that we need. Amen?
Right.
How about that word? The youth band, when they were practicing yesterday, they played a video for the beginning of practice, and they weren't really intending to show it during the service. They were actually playing this video just to kind of get the atmosphere right for rehearsal. I saw the video and I was like, we've got to see that. It's so powerful, this video. And so we're going to conclude the service. I would ask the ushers